Coming up on 5 Minute News. Manhattan DA sues Jim Jordan over indictment interference. Ukraine bombed as US searches for source of leaked documents. And the US agrees wind-powered energy line from Wyoming to Nevada. It's Wednesday, April 12. I'm Anthony Davis. The Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, has sued Representative Jim Jordan in an extraordinary move as he seeks to halt a House Judiciary Committee inquiry that the prosecutor contends is a transparent campaign to intimidate and attack him over his indictment of disgraced former President Donald Trump. Bragg is asking a judge to invalidate subpoenas that Jordan, the committee's Republican chair, has issued or plans to issue as part of an investigation of Bragg's handling of the case, the first criminal prosecution of a former U.S. president. Bragg's lawsuit, a forceful escalation after weeks of sparring with Jordan and other Republican lawmakers in letters and media statements, seeks to end what it says is a constitutionally destructive fishing expedition that threatens the sovereignty and integrity of a state-level prosecution. Congress lacks any valid legislative purpose to engage in a free-ranging campaign of harassment in retaliation for the district attorney's investigation and prosecution of Mr. Trump under the laws of New York, the lawsuit says, citing the lack of authority in the Constitution for Congress to oversee, let alone disrupt, ongoing state law criminal matters. The Judiciary Committee recently issued a subpoena seeking testimony from Mark Pomerantz, the former prosecutor who previously oversaw the Trump investigation and sparred with Bragg over the direction of the probe before leaving office last year. Pomerantz, who has declined to cooperate with the committee, is under subpoena to testify at a deposition on April 20th unless the judge intervenes. The committee has also sought documents and testimony from the DA's office, but Bragg has rejected those requests. The committee is scheduled to hold a hearing in Manhattan on Monday on crime in New York City and what it alleges are Bragg's pro-crime, anti-victim policies. The DA's office, however, points to statistics showing that violent crime in Manhattan has dropped since Bragg took office in January 2022. Russian forces pounded frontline cities in eastern Ukraine with airstrikes and artillery attacks, while U.S. officials stepped up efforts to locate the source of a leak of classified U.S. documents, including those on Ukrainian counter-offensive plans. The Russians pressed on with their offensive in the eastern Donetsk region, where several cities and towns came under heavy bombardment, Ukraine's general staff said on Tuesday. Ukrainian forces repelled several attacks, it said, as the Russian military kept up its effort to take control of Bakhmut. A top Ukrainian commander accused Moscow of using scorched earth tactics. The battle for the small and now largely ruined city on the edge of a chunk of Russian-controlled territory in Donetsk has been the bloodiest of the 13-month war, as Moscow tries to inject momentum into its campaign after recent setbacks. Both sides have suffered heavy casualties in the Bakhmut fighting, but the commander said the situation is difficult but controllable. The head of the Moscow-controlled part of Donetsk, Denis Pushilin, said Russian forces now held 75% of the city, though it cautioned it was too early to talk about Bakhmut's fall. U.S. officials on Tuesday gave final approval to begin building a massive transmission line that will deliver wind energy from blustery Wyoming to power-hungry California. The notice to proceed from the U.S. Bureau of Land Management allows Transwest Express LLC to break ground on its $3 billion line after more than 15 years of development. About two-thirds of the project will be on federal land. In a statement, the Bureau said its approval of the 732-mile Transwest Express line was a significant milestone in the Biden-Harris administration's efforts to modernize America's power infrastructure in the West and achieve a fully carbon-free electric grid by 2035. High-voltage transmission projects are seen as imperative to delivering large amounts of renewable power from far-flung windy and sunny regions to population centres. But permitting lines across a multi-state patchwork of private and public lands can take years. Transwest Express construction will start later this year, and the first stage will be completed in 2027, the company said. The line will run from south-central Wyoming through Colorado, Utah, and Nevada to a substation outside of Las Vegas. You can subscribe to the 5-Minute News Patreon for bonus videos, commentary, and more. Go to patreon.com/5minutenews.